dealing with your envious employees. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. Today we're going to talk about dealing with envious people, mainly your employees. It's one of the most common types, but also anybody that you work alongside, anybody that you have any close contact with whatsoever. You're going to deal with envy. And so before I get into that, I just wanted to give a quick pitch for brianjpombo.com. At that website, you're going to find all the videos going all the way back, 300 plus videos, almost a full year's worth, because we do these on pretty much a daily basis. You can find all those back there, including audio versions of the same thing, transcripts, other things over at brianjpombo.com. Included the Amazon Proof Strategies session where you can go and apply. And if you qualify, you'll have the chance to be able to sit down and talk with me and find out specifically how you can take your business from where it's at to being completely competition proof, including competition proof from Amazon.com. So go to brianjpombo.com/Amazon. Link is in the description. Now, let's talk about envy, shall we? What is envy? Envy is jealousy. It has so many other different words. It basically means that when somebody looks at you, and we're going to talk about other people being envious. I'm not going to talk about you being envious, because hopefully you've gotten over that or are getting over that. But hopefully you've had enough success in your life that you can feel the envy that radiates off of people. It doesn't take much. You don't have to be that much further than everybody else. I'm not saying you got to live in a big gorgeous house and drive a fancy car. I'm saying that you're confident, that you enjoy life, that maybe you own a business, quite possibly, because that's a lot of the people that watch these videos and listen to this podcast are people that own their own business. And just being in that position, just being the boss, just the fact that you have employees, it will automatically cause envy. I guarantee it. It's just part of the position. It's people's issues with authority, which is a whole nother thing, but it's also just in general, if anyone sees you and assumes that you're doing better than them, they're going to resent you for it. And that's what we call envy. It's one of the, 7 deadly sins, as they call it. And I mean, there's no telling why. I mean, you could totally see why. I mean, it's scattered throughout history. Some of the worst case scenarios, some of the worst mass murderers, they were all backed up by envy. Think about it. What was some of the major complaints that Hitler had about the Jewish people? It was that they came in, they did well for themselves, they took our jobs, they did all this. It was envy. It's all envy based. So much of it was envy based. Going all the way back, you can find this biblical. And like I said, I don't like talking about the Bible all that much because I scare away people who are scared of the Bible. That's not my point. My only point is to bring up the quick little story, Cain and Abel. What's the story there? Two brothers that were trying to curry God's favor. One's a farmer, one's a shepherd. They both prepare a sacrifice. God likes one of them better. And what's the other one? The other one is Cain. He's envious. He kills Abel. Why? Envy. I'm telling you, it's envy. It's every time. It is one of the most common results of deep-seated resentment. Shows up as this envious attitude. And here's what I want to get at. Here's the point I want to get to. Before I get to the major point, let me point out one other thing. If you know anything about political philosophy, what major political philosophies are you aware of that depend on envy? They depend on one class of people being envious of another class of people. Without it, it could not exist as a philosophy. Envy is absolutely necessary. I'm not going to get into the politics, but I'll leave that for you to figure out who that is. It's an idea, and it's not just in America. It's not just in certain parts of the world. It's everywhere. That's envy. And you can always see the destruction that it ends up bringing. It's never useful. because it teaches you to resent someone for the fact that they have something that you don't have, or do something that you don't do, or have achieved something that you haven't achieved. It's the completely wrong attitude. You can't get anywhere. If any of you have ever been envious of somebody else, you realize that it's even if you're ever able to achieve anything close to what they've achieved, that envy only leaves you empty by the time you get there. It'll never work. It's false way of handling life. It's just rotten stuff. So, how do you handle it if it's happening to you? Here's how you handle it. You ignore it. You have to ignore it in the sense that you don't pretend like it's not there. Don't act like there aren't people out there that are envious. They are. Whether they have anything to be envious enough or not about is irregardless. There's one of those words that people can't stand people using. Regardless of the situation, it doesn't matter whether it's real or not. It doesn't matter if you really have a life that's worth being envious over. If someone else is being envious, just realize it's par for the course. It's just life. You can't get around it. Someone is always going to hate you because they think that you're better than they are in some way, or that you have something more than they do, or that you don't deserve what you have. That's pretty common too. So what do? You just let it go. Let them have their thing. We've all had things where we've handled things wrong and resented people we shouldn't have resent. Let them do it. Realize it's there. Watch it. If you ever have time to confront it, and say, "What do you mean by that? When you said this and this and that, do you have a problem? I'm just curious." And just be straightforward and don't match resentment with resentment. Don't hate on them for hating on you. It's not about you anyways. They're going to hate on anybody. They just found a convenient excuse. And because you're always able to make yourself feel better if you can judge somebody else. And that's all envy is all about anyways. So as a business owner, as an employer, as anybody that deals with other people, and you can sense that they have jealousy or envy or resentment towards you because of a perceived notion, just let it roll off you like water off a duck's back. It's not that big a deal. Life goes on, and sometimes people can get over it. Quite oftentimes they can. Just don't overreact to it. Just watch it. There's always a time period where you could sit down and talk with them and find out what's really eating at them, and then they can get over it. So hopefully that's helpful to you. We'll be back here tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.